And today we're talking about shared love, shared loving, yours, mine, and ours. Sometimes they say that's what a blended family, blended expectations.
Yeah. Or just even coming together. You know, maybe you don't have the whole, stepchildren, other children thing going on, but you've decided to go out in the world and build a family together, and you're trying to decide what will our family rules and boundaries be like.
Prenups.
Yeah, they say even if you don't have any money, it's a good thing to get that in place.
Well, if it's going to be yours, mine, and ours, shared love, shared loving, why are there things like prenups and boundaries? No, this is mine, this ain't yours.
It don't always work out. Sometimes the person you're with is not the person you end up with.
Don't touch my kids.
You better not.
Well, yours, mine, and ours.
I'm just letting you know.
I should be able to whip them like you whip them.
Yeah, no.
No?
No.
Why?
You could be the birth daddy, you better not touch my baby. And I means that. You better ask.
Well, I guess my mindset is, back to us, where we literally embraced each other's, whatever that was, from our money to our children, to our lives, to our friends. How did it work for us? That we could literally have yours, mine, and ours, and it is yours, mine, and ours.
Well, I think we got to give a good shout out, first of all, to age and maturity.
Okay. I'll go with you on that one. Okay.
I was 50 years old when we got married.
Okay.
That's a whole different level than being 20, 22, 23. I have different physical abilities at 50 than what I had at 20, 22, and 23. So I think we definitely have to pay attention to the level of maturity.
Okay.
But when I had been married before, and we had a child together, and I just had to explain to that brother, don't hit my kid no more. And I mean that. I know when I spank him how hard I'm hitting him, but you trying to chase away something else, and you're not going to use my child as your way of trying to work it out. And he later told his mother, I don't ever have to worry about that boy, because she will kill me for him. She ain't gonna let nobody mess over that boy, not even me. And I meant that.
But you sensed that it wasn't discipline. It was something else.
Yeah, I did. And then, but we had some agreements. I'll tell you one thing that didn't go so well for me, but oddly enough, it's the way I live now. So in my early 20s, based on how my family celebrated holidays and things like that, your gifts were wrapped up and they were placed under the tree, and there was just lots and lots of stuff. My parents raised me and my 6 cousins, and can you imagine being sure you feel like you've given each kid enough of something, a couple of outfits, a toy, something that they said they wanted, new shoes, all of that. So Christmas was really gigantic there. And when I got married, he's like, hey, we don't wrap toys in my family. You just put them over there. And I'm like, are you a barbarian? This is for kids. They want to rip stuff open. And I did it the first Christmas, trying to get along. And I said, yeah, this won't happen again. But now in my almost 60s, I'm going to give you a Ross bag. Everything's in there. It ain't nothing wrapped up. In fact, I took my time to select a special Ross bag just for you.
So how do you get to know? So if you're not going to be disconnected or taking out something or neglecting someone because of something else that happened to you, how do you get to know blended so that you can have a yours, mine, and ours? Shared love, shared loving.
When you're in a blended situation, this is the thing that you have to remember. You are not the be-all, end-all, or the final boundary maker or enforcer. Lots of times, people get together and they're mixing their children. In our case, all our kids was grown. Praise ye the Lord. And so it wasn't about disciplining and all of that, but it was trying to find a way to make the blend go where people felt comfortable, like nobody was trying to take their mother's position. Nobody was trying to force me down their throat as their mother, which was not a problem. I knew Johnetta. You don't need me, you had a mama.
And I remember James coming to me saying, do you want me to call you John or Dad? And I said, you call me what you're comfortable calling me with. So yeah, I get that.
He calls you Mr. Hyman.
Yeah, he calls me Mr.
But you know what? His dad calls him Mr. Harris. And so there's a way that all of that blends. But I think for me, though, it was this, in terms of your children. I am who I am. I have a certain set of boundaries. You ain't gonna push me past that. But I knew your mother, and your mom's not here. So if I can lean in and join you and help you, you got me. We ain't never got to speak again in life. But if you let me know you need me, I'm coming through. That was the real argument that we've had in the last 10 years, when I responded and didn't reach out to you. And I just said, I'm take care of this. And I was a little concerned because I thought, well, if we ever get into a real argument, are you gonna follow me from room to room? Am I gonna have to fight out of here? You were following me from room to room. And I said,
yeah, we don't have them kind of arguments.
Oh my God, what's really going on here? And so then I had to let you know the perspective from which I was seeing it. If my baby's in trouble and I'm not here, somebody better do something. Because if I got to come back to let y'all know I'm not pleased with this, it ain't gonna go well for y'all. It's gonna be a haunting like none y'all had before. So, and even like the little grandbabies, you know, it's really hard. I like being a grandma. Man, I wanna go in bad. But then learning to respect their boundaries and levels, you know. Ashley and Jordan are concerned about me dropping off a lot of stuff when they don't have a lot of space to keep all that junk. So, you know, that's the hard part, because I'm thinking, he needs this, he needs that, he needs the other, he needs it.
Think about how much stuff they'd have if they was in town.
Do you remember all the junk we had in the inner court ourselves? You know, because they need it. You know, so yeah. But I think for some other people that haven't, I've decided that they're your kids, and I know you love them, right? So my goal is not to do anything that would hurt you. So I'm going to try to come in and do what I can to be helpful, you know, while also still respecting my own boundaries. We ain't going to do all of this now, but I'll tell you where I can meet you at. And if that means supporting the marriage, cool, what you need, you know, for us to support your marriage so that your child ultimately feels happy and healthy. I've always been that way, you know. Do I need to step out of the way? It grieved me greatly about the oldest grandchild, because I love her. But I came to understand I needed to step away from that because I was creating conflict for her. And she needed the space to grow up and make her own decisions.
And on the flip side, yours, mine, and ours, money.
What about it?
How do you, money can be a huge thing in any relationship.
We old people.
Yeah, that's yours, mine, and ours.
That's
we
different.
old people.
We old people. So
once
we're
again,
going to
maturity.
approach it differently than younger people. I like the concept of whoever is better at the task, let them manage the task. Mm-hmm. As long as there is transparency and all of that. And I decided early on, I'm not going to argue about no money. I'm driving 750 miles a week, working every day. I'm working when I'm asleep. No, I ain't going to have no missed conversations about money. period. And I try not to worry you about money.
Likewise.
And so I think that that's been helpful. You're a very good steward. And oddly enough, I committed to that myself, that, you know, maybe I'm not going to get anybody. I mean, because this life I'm living, I don't want to do it. So, you know, but just in case, let me be a benefit and not a burden. And so I wanted to be sure I had, you know, a clear idea of what I owed, what I could get paid off, and more money left over after paying things off than not, when I could then upping the TSP, is like a 401k with the feds, amount, you know, to try to build money. But it's really hard to bank a lot of money when you're raising everybody. You know, it's hard to do that. And so then to make that commitment to figure out how to work around this piece of money every month, you know, just had to get done. That would be my one regret, that here we are. Just a few months away from September the 1st, 2025.
Retirement. I'm already retired and then opened a private practice. So we doing it right. Because I'm on my own dime now. I set my own hours. But yeah, you know,
I
close.
wish that we had more saved, but that's a me thing. And then that kind of goes back into the way I've been in the world. You know, I've always had children to be responsible for, so it was important to me to know resources were going to be available and that I could take care of these people.
And my thought always with the resources is being a good steward, which is huge. We have to have plans. We have to understand that the lights aren't on with a hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. But you can't be reckless and shop all the time and then do it at the expense of something else. But what I found out has been helpful with us is maturity. And the other part of it is we have aspirations and dreams and we put it into action. So we know how to put money aside. We know how to take our professional life and, you know, make it happen in a way that it can produce income. So I think too, once you're responsible, it's easier to share, whether it's in the love or in the finances. So any closing?
Yeah, I want to say this. We are associated with 365 days, 365 chances, counseling services.
Tyshell, the neck snapper.
That's not her job at 365.
Tyshell, thank you, neck snapper.
We want to thank you for sponsoring this episode of Love Married Moments, and we appreciate you and love you deeply for all the things that you're always doing for us.
Keep snapping.
And this is not the neck snapper thing.
Okay, I'm just trying to put it in there.
She's a very, very hardworking, creative, energetic young person who I was blessed to have as my baby cakes on the job. And she just looks out for a little old woman. And that's something else that I would say about mine, ours, and yours, or however it goes. You also want to be sure that you build friendships up and down the age ranges. Mm-hmm. Because you get a lot of wisdom from a lot of different places. And just sticking with this level may not always do you the best. You may call yourself going over to serve an older person and really get blessed in it. I had a phone call from my Sunday school teacher in her 90s talking about, you gotta love everyone like Christ love everyone. I'm trying to figure out, what am I doing that I got to get this lesson? We ain't at Sunday school, Miss Fry.
Thank you.
And John was laughing in the background. Why am I in trouble? I ain't even doing nothing. So anyway, have friends up and down the range, young and older. You might think you're gonna go take care of a younger person and end up with someone who wants to help and serve you. And Tyshell has been that for me. Hard working young lady. Allowed me to participate with her in her parenting and her professional life, and, even let me work in her business.
Thank you.
Thank you. May God bless and keep you all. And remember, love with an open hand and heart. Try to do more to help than to be in control of.